morning, everybody. It's a start to a weekend. It's a Friday today, but your energies should be all high because weekend is approaching. So it is not that you have worked through the week and now you can relax because we've got certain things coming up for you. I'm going to give you some assignment at the end of this session, which will keep you occupied in the next 2 days. So stay prepared for that. And be alert and attentive in the next 40-45 minutes that we spend with each other so that, I can, get some mails from you after that and some questions that I shall be posting post the session. I would like to receive those as well, the answer to those as well after the session. So today we are going to be talking about leadership in disruptive times. थोड़ा मुश्किल है ये वर्ड समझना भी और एक एक करके मैं इस वर्ड का आपको मतलब बताऊंगी. And why are we learning about leadership so soon? I'm sure most of you are graduates already, or you are awaiting results of your final year graduation. So how come you are already leaders? So I just read somewhere that you have to behave what you want to be like. So if you want to become a civil servant, you have to start behaving like a civil servant even during your IAS preparation times. If you want to become a politician, you would have seen कि जो लोग politician बनते हैं वो शुरू से ही during their college years they start participating in unions and then they are part of their RWAs and small committees, and then they head towards bigger roles. Similarly, to become a leader, and that is what you are doing your management education for, is to become and evolve as a leader. You have to learn what leadership is like. और इससे पहले कि हम आपको lessons पढ़ाएं leadership के क्या होने चाहिए, आपको कैसे behave करना चाहिए, you should know how leaders behave in disruptive times. Disruptive मतलब कोई भी खलल हिंदी में जिसे बोलते हैं या अड़चन. So disruption. Leadership in disruptive times. A leader can be very good, very pally, very nice when things are going smooth. जब हिंदुस्तान पे कोई संकट नहीं है तो प्राइम मिनिस्टर पे ज्यादा काम नहीं है. लेकिन जैसे ही वॉर डिक्लेयर हो गया, कैन यू अंडरस्टैंड द काइंड ऑफ प्रेशर दैट द प्राइम मिनिस्टर विल फेस when there is a war declared on the country? You've already seen it in Ukraine, Russia. Countries are going smoothly, but disruption and everything changes. How should leadership behave during that time? What should be the leadership's reaction to disruption, and how they should come out positive from the disruption? जरूरी नहीं है सभी अड़चने हमें बिगाड़ने के लिए आती हैं. कई अड़चने हमें सही रास्ते पे लाने के लिए भी आती हैं, जिसको हम बोलते हैं disruptive innovation. For example, you're driving a car or you're on way to somewhere और रास्ते में आपको बहुत ट्रैफिक मिल जाता है. आप ऑफिस जा रहे हैं, there's a lot of traffic. So what do we say? Traffic has caused a disruption to my routine. आप तो नॉर्मल ऑफिस पहुंच रहे थे 9 बजे, लेकिन ट्रैफिक आ गया. आप कोई काम करने, आप फॉर एग्जाम्पल आप कहीं ट्रिप प्लान कर रहे हैं, आप मनाली घूमने जा रहे हैं और अचानक आपकी तबीयत खराब हो गई, गॉड फॉरबिड. सो देयर इज अ डिसरप्शन टू योर प्लान. व्हाट इज योर बिहेवियर एट दैट टाइम? आप पैनिक हो जाते हैं, आप you start losing control of yourself, and फिर आप आगे कभी कोई प्लान नहीं बनाते हैं. और do you bring out the positive from that side कि चलो अभी नहीं यहाँ जा पाए, there were disruptive times, लेकिन हम इन 3 दिन को और इसका सबसे बेहतर फायदा क्या उठा सकते हैं? That is what we are going to be mainly focusing on, which is called disruptive innovation. So, and why are we talking about this? Because in the last 2 years, we have seen so much disruption is the word so commonly used in the newspapers because of the COVID pandemic. Normally हम स्कूल जाते थे, कॉलेज जाते थे, और अचानक कोविड थ्रू लाइफ which we have not seen in generations. आप घर से बाहर नहीं निकल सकते हैं, you cannot go shopping, you cannot attend school, colleges, people don't have jobs, there was economic failure, and कितने जो low income लोग हैं had a very tough time surviving also. So how we can bring the positive side of disruption, and we are going to be focusing on leadership in disruptive times. This is specifically for PGDM batch of 2022-24. And, we shall be taking it up one by one. I will not be focusing a lot on the slides, but, we shall be talking about it. I shall be giving you some inputs, but क्योंकि ये interactive नहीं है, this is not a interactive session. So you can keep your notes. आप एक notepad ले लीजिए, एक pen ले लीजिए. बीच में अगर आपको कहीं कुछ पूछना होता है or you want to understand something, then please note it down. And later on, please, I will really welcome emailers from your side. So please write to me. So what are we going to be talking about? Disruption is this. What you see here on this screen now is disruption of threads being coming together and not getting sewed in a needle. जब आप कई बार सुई में धागा डालते हैं, so what happens at that time? सारे धागे आपस में mix हो जाते हैं. So what your grandmother or whoever is doing it, some parent in your family will see that this is disruption. उनको प्रॉपरली कोई भी काम करने में जहां पर कहीं अटकन आ रही है, जैसे फॉर एग्जांपल आई एम डूइंग दिस प्रेजेंटेशन टू यू and what I'm being told here is that please move this window away from the shared application, so that this is disruption for me here. Now you have seen how disruption can happen in normal life. For example, when you are driving or when you are at home. But what is business disruption? आपने अपने आसपास बहुत सारे एग्जाम्पल्स देखने हैं, and I'm going to come to it in the next slide, is something like an Uber. So जब आप probably, in your younger years, probably when you were in school or when we were younger, we had a lot of trouble getting cabs and taxis and probably autos as well. Something that was causing a lot of problem for transportation. और अभी क्या है? Since you have the phones, you have an app. What do? You directly call a cab, 2 to 5 minutes, 10 minutes, you have a cab waiting for you. So this is an example of disruptive innovation, something that was causing a problem, something like a cab which was causing a problem. But what you did to it, the owners of Uber, the people who thought about Uber, the founders of Uber, they brought in an idea which became so popular. But what did Uber do? उन्होंने क्या किया? उन्होंने बाकी सब टैक्सी वालों का काम खत्म कर दिया. So they, in effect, they caused a disruption in the transportation industry. Uber was born because there was a disruption, but Uber again caused a disruption in the industry. So what happened? Jitne taxi walas, cab walas, they were all jobless. They did not have work because nobody was using private cabs anymore. Now, what do you think as business students? And this is your first assignment as a business student or as a business owner. If you are in such a situation, for example, आप कोई business चला रहे हैं, something like a taxi, and suddenly technology becomes as a barrier. Technology ने उस industry में disruption ला लिया. So what will you do at that time? Will you survive? Will you change your business? Or will you adopt technology? Out of these, what are you going to do if you are in this situation? So I want answer to this question from each one of you. You are in a business and that business goes for a toss because there is a disruption in your business which is brought about by a third party, like an Uber, which is using technology, though they did not have anything of themselves. They just had a platform. They did not even have their own cabs. They were just using technology. So what are you going to do at that time? Are you going to stick on to your business? I repeat, are you going to change your business? Are you going to adopt technology? Or are you going to wait for good times? कि नहीं, ये तो बहुत short-lived है technology. Ultimately, cabs are going to come back. So this is what you have to mail me. And this is called disruptive innovation. So are you going to be innovators जब disruption आएगी, or are you going to leave it? So are you in for the challenge? Are you going to be this leader who's going to run ahead when there are disruptive times? Or are you going to stick back and wait for better times to come? इस समय पे आपको क्या करना है? So all of you at this time have to think about changing. At this moment, when you're sitting in your chairs in your houses, you have to think yourself as leaders. You have to bring that mindset out of bringing a change and something which is called a strategic change. पहले क्या होता था, कई साल पहले आप मूवीज भी देखते होंगे या आप जब लोगों को सुनते भी होंगे, so sometimes people of an older mindset, जो they are probably 50-60 years old, or the ones who have a mindset conventional, they will think कि हम कुछ भी बदलाव नहीं लाएं खुद में या ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में, and things will change on themselves. Things will get better by themselves. We have to come out of that as leaders, because the only change constant is change, and more so it is important when you are in a leadership position. Agar you as a leader do not bring that change in mentality, आपकी पूरी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन वो पुराना ही सोचती रहेगी और पुराने ढर्रे पे ही काम करती रहेगी. So first thing as a leader, what you have to think is bringing a change in the mindset. So this is just a small cartoon showing some elderly people sitting. And if you can see, their profits are going down, their sales are going down. और वो कह रहे हैं कि what if we don't change at all and something magical happens? And it will, bring downfall to the organization. जब तक बदलाव नहीं आएगा, जब तक टेक्नोलॉजी को इवॉल्व नहीं करेंगे, that is what is going to happen to them. So as a leader, you have to embrace the discomfort of not knowing. जरूरी नहीं है अगर आप एक पोजीशन पे, for example, if you are the captain of your cricket team, it is not necessary that captain knows everything. आपको बैटिंग भी आती है, आपको बॉलिंग भी आती है, आपको ये भी आता है कि टीम को कैसे अलाइन करना है, what is going to be the field play that day. It is all right. It is all right to ask for help. And in the words of Satya Nadella, what he said is leaders must shift from, a mindset of know it all to learn it all. There is a lot of difference, and it's a very powerful thing that Satya Nadella said. पहले क्या होता था, मुझे सब मालूम है and I can lead the world properly. And sometimes it happens with politicians also. And I mean, no disregard to our prime minister as well. Sometimes that is what is, brings arrogance to a leader. Mujhe sab aata hai, I know what I'm doing right. This can often lead to wrong judgments. It can often lead to wrong decisions. Rather, a leader should be okay to not know, but should also, ask people for help, and should have a learning attitude. It's all right, I made a fault. It's all right, I did not know about this, but I'm willing to embrace. I'm willing to learn more. And otherwise, what will happen is what happened with the cab drivers. उन्होंने कहा हम टेक्नोलॉजी नहीं इवॉल्व करेंगे, हम जो कर रहे हैं वो सही कर रहे हैं. And what happened? Their business died down. Same thing happened with Nokia, same thing happened with Yahoo, because their leaders thought that we know enough about the industry and we do not want to embrace change, or we do not want to learn new things. अगर हम यही physical classes 2 साल पहले, किसी faculty या किसी leadership को बोलते institute में कि आप online classes लीजिए, no, everybody would have refused. स्टूडेंट्स आप लोग भी रिफ्यूज करते थे कि नहीं, हमको तो क्लासरूम में जाके ही पढ़ना है, ऑनलाइन में तो हमें कुछ समझ नहीं आता, हमसे पढ़ाई नहीं होती. बट that is what the mindset has to change. So abhi tak what have we learned and known? The first thing during disruption a leader has to know or leader has to understand is a change in mindset, an open mindset. You cannot be closed with the idea of not learning. You have to let go of perfectionism. So there are times and there are people, I have been one of them earlier, probably during my college years, you want to be perfect, you want to be perfect about everything that you do. But sometimes your plans go haywire. आप प्लान करते हैं सुबह 9 बजे ऑफिस पहुंचने का, लेकिन रास्ते में आपको ट्रैफिक का डिस्ट्रप्शन मिल जाता है. व्हाट हैपेंस, आप 9 की जगह 9:15 बजे पहुंचते हैं. उससे क्या होता है? यू गेट डिस्टर्ब्ड इन द माइंड and you are then not able to focus on the work throughout the day. What happens? Your entire day gets disrupted. Are you an effective leader? अगर आप पूरा दिन खराब कर रहे हैं अपना, so let go of perfection. It's all right to reach office at 9:15 because you got a traffic disruption, and spend the rest of the day in the best possible way that you can. It's good to aim for excellence, but perfection sometimes creates stress. You don't have to do it all by yourself. अगर आप अपनी टीम के कैप्टन हैं, या अगर आप कोई ग्रुप है आपका जिसपे आप प्रोजेक्ट्स करते हैं अपने कॉलेज में, you would have seen that you can't do it alone. 11 लोगों की टीम है क्रिकेट की, अकेला कैप्टन मैच नहीं जीत सकता. So you have to lead the change during disruption, but you cannot go all alone. You must have witnessed it during the World Cup of 1984. What Kapil Dev says is, some people told him later that Kapil Dev was playing for his century and he was not playing for the team. And the World Cup also he won was because he was playing for himself. So Kapil Dev said, is it possible कि मैं 100 रन बनाऊं और टीम 99 पे आउट हो जाए? It's not possible. So if a captain is performing, if the captain is leading, definitely they have to take the team along. They have to play for the team, and it is not only about the leader but also about engaging and empowering the entire team. आप एक विजन बनाइए चेंज का, that this is the direction towards which we want to go, and then share that vision with the entire team कि अब हमें ये, this is the change we are bringing out and this is the way we want to lead it. The 4 pillars, if you can just quickly go through this slide, is it is all what has been shared till now, that if you want to be a leader during disruption and without disruption, you have to have first instilling psychological safety in your people. Like the kind of employees you have to see, you have to divide your people in various categories. For example, if there is a Kapil Dev, then he has to believe उसकी टीम में और किस टाइप के लोग हैं, कितने लोग हैं जो बैट्समैन हैं, कितने लोग हैं जो बॉलर्स हैं, कितने हैं जो ऑलराउंडर्स हैं, और कितने हैं who are just there in the team. How you will instill psychological safety कि आपकी बात सुनी जा रही है और आपकी कुछ बातें मानी जा रही हैं और कुछ नहीं मानी जा रही हैं. Second is you have to empower the teams. जब आप उनको कुछ you have to give them strength, you have to also give them authority, that this is what you can do yourself and for the team. Third is there has to be an absolutely upskilling and learning environment. हर किसी का दिमाग खुला होना चाहिए. Again, I'll give you an example of your own houses. Sometimes, at your household, you must be having some grandfathers or some uncles or maybe your father or mother who has got a closed mind. हमारे जमाने में तो ऐसा ही होता था, इसलिए अभी भी ऐसा ही होगा. That means your mind is closed. So you as a leader have to have an open mind. And fourth, which I just spoke, there has to be a shared purpose. हम किस लक्ष्य की तरफ काम कर रहे हैं, वो सब लक्ष्य आपकी पूरी की पूरी टीम को मालूम होना चाहिए. And you should all be working towards one common vision, one common mission. I'll give you a couple of examples after that. I think this we can skip, it'll be too much for you. I'll give a short example of a case of SBI. And why I'm using SBI, State Bank of India, is a very popular bank in India. आप सबने सुना होगा, आप लोगों का इसमें अकाउंट भी होगा, हो सकता है, और maybe somebody in the family would be having that. So why State Bank of India? So State Bank of India, India का सबसे बड़ा बैंक है, और world, it is one of the biggest banks in the world as well. During the early 2000s, around the year 2007-8, what happened was the bank was going through a tough time. So this State Bank of India was mainly catering to a rural population, that is the agricultural people who are in agriculture. But धीरे धीरे क्या हुआ, ये बिकॉज ऑफ प्राइवेटाइजेशन, बिकॉज ऑफ प्राइवेट बैंक्स कमिंग टू इंडिया, स्टेट बैंक ऑफ इंडिया वेंट फॉर अ टॉस। वहां पे धीरे धीरे उनके पास क्लाइंटेल कम होने लगे, एंड द अमाउंट ऑफ मनी द बैंक हैड स्टार्टेड टू रिड्यूस। सो व्हाट डिड दे थिंक, व्हाट डिड द लीडरशिप डू एट दैट टाइम? इतना बड़ा बैंक और उनके पास अब कोई बिजनेस नहीं आ रहा है। सो देयर लीडरशिप एट दैट टाइम थॉट that this is the time to bring about a revolution, और उन्होंने एक मिशन शुरू की जिसका नाम उन्होंने रखा परिवर्तन। उस परिवर्तन के थ्रू सबसे पहले लीडरशिप ने अपने जो बोर्ड ऑफ डायरेक्टर्स थे उनके साथ बात करनी शुरू करी। सो द फर्स्ट स्टेप ही डिड वाज कम्युनिकेशन। ही स्टार्टेड कम्युनिकेटिंग विद हिज senior team. He took them to a place in Pune, and there is a resort there, Ambi Valley Resort. They went there with families and they discussed what is the problem. So पहले हमने क्या देखा, the senior leadership was open to talking. उन्होंने आपस में बैठ के पहले तो ये निकाला कि बैंक में दिक्कत क्या, फिर उन्होंने एक पूरा प्लान चार्ट आउट किया कि अब धीरे धीरे हमें बैंक में कैसा परिवर्तन लाना है। जब वो वापस आए अपने कॉर्पोरेट ऑफिस में, देन दे स्टार्टेड टॉकिंग टू देयर टीम्स। सब लोगों ने अपनी टीम्स के साथ 3-3, 4-4 दिन की कम्युनिकेशन करी, उनके साथ आइडियाज डिस्कस करे, एंड स्लोली द बैंक रिवाइव्ड। द ओनली थिंग द SBI chairman at that time did was communicate, because there was disruption in the bank. Private banks की वजह से स्टेट बैंक का काम कम हो रहा था। So they started talking to people. They brought out schemes for farmers, agricultural industry के लिए उन्होंने बहुत loans देने शुरू कर दिए at very low interest, and that is how they won the trust of Indians back. So the SBI was such a true Indian case when there was disruption caused just because of some issues, and how just because of communication brought about by the leader, they were able to move further. The key takeaways which we can understand from this is, there were difficult times, like I said, in 2006. First step was उन लोगों को ये पता लग गया कि अब हमें बदलाव लाना है, which was a much needed change. So the first step was realizing कि change की जरूरत है. Then there was creating a consensus for change, which is when all the leaders came together and thought कि अब हमें बदलाव लाना है. They crafted a strategy. उन्होंने एक पूरा blueprint बनाया कि अब हम कैसा बदलाव लाएंगे. उन्होंने वही विजन अपने बैंक के सारे एम्प्लॉइज को बनाई, and the result was in 2008, which was just after 2 years, SBI was given the Bank of India award, Bank of the Year award in India in 2008. So they said change is the only constant and communication is the key. कोई उन्होंने और नए लोग हायर नहीं करे, उन्होंने कोई ऐसा the chairman did not bring such a revolution in the bank, but he only realized that a change is important, and he brought about a change from his own people, and that is what he did. So there is a Lewin's change model जो आप अपनी मैनेजमेंट स्टडीज में पढ़ेंगे। बदलाव लाने के लिए पहले आपको क्या करना है? Only these 3 words you need to remember. You have to unfreeze, you have to change, and then you have to refreeze. ऑलरेडी आपकी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, आपकी टीम एक ढर्रे पे काम कर रही है, आपको पहले उस ढर्रे से बाहर निकलना है। यू हैव टू अनफ्रीज, जो बर्फ जमी हुई है उसको पहले आपको तोड़ना है, फिर बदलाव लाना है, और फिर जो आप बदलाव लाए हैं उनको वापस रीइंफोर्स करके refreeze करना है. So this process is called unfreeze, change, and refreeze in a change model. Another short example I'll give you is of Starbucks. You all know Starbucks. आप Delhi NCR में या all over India में, world में definitely you would have seen Starbucks coffee slowly spreading into the suburbs of India as well. So Starbucks was started by a person who was an American, but he traveled to Europe during the 1970s. तो US में बहुत ज़्यादा कॉफी कल्चर उस समय नहीं था, whereas Europe had a great coffee culture, So वहाँ पे कैफेज हैं, यूरोप में छोटे छोटे कैफेज हैं जहाँ पे लोग आके बैठते हैं, बातचीत करते हैं, and maybe they'll sit for 2-3 hours just sipping their cup of coffee. और अभी fast world में क्या होता है, US बहुत fast world country था हमेशा, so people will come, have their quick coffee, या वो coffee उठाएंगे और office चले जाएंगे. So this person realized that we need to do something for coffee culture in US, and he really liked when he went to Italy and saw कि there are beautiful cafes and people come to spend time at the cafeterias in US. तो उन्होंने US में जाके company शुरू करी धीरे धीरे, because of the one was the taste of coffee was very good and people could come and spend time at cafeterias. तो धीरे धीरे Starbucks की chain बढ़ने लगी, and very slowly they moved from hundreds to thousands. USA, all over the world, Starbucks coffee culture spread in a very short span of time. And what were they selling? They were selling quality of coffee and quality of time. So people were not going to Starbucks to have only coffee. They were going to spend good time with each other. Even when the Starbucks owner also used to say that it is not the quality of coffee which is important to us. We are actually a people industry selling coffee. So they were not a coffee industry where people used to come. बट क्या हुआ, तकरीबन 2005-6 में धीरे धीरे वहां के रेवेन्यूज कम होने लगे. धीरे धीरे स्टारबक्स का profit started to decline. In the meantime, this CEO of Starbucks had already retired. In 2001 he had already retired. So they started realizing, the CEO started to see, the ex-CEO, कि revenues क्यों कम हो रहे हैं. They saw that the coffee quality was not good. जो coffee beans Starbucks के आते हैं, nobody was paying heed to it, क्योंकि वो इतनी जल्दी chain बढ़ रही थी कि nobody was bothered about the quality. The trainers who were serving coffee were not bothered anymore because उनकी training नहीं हुई थी. They used to just call out names and give them the coffee, and people used to take their coffee and move away. तो वो सारा culture missing था. So what did they do? The first thing they did was Starbucks, they brought the CEO back. जिसने उस क्वालिटी से Starbucks शुरू किया था और जिसके जाने के बाद the quality started to decline, they brought him back. And what did he do? He realized first thing that a change is needed. सबसे पहले जितने भी स्टोर्स खुले थे उस टाइम पे Starbucks के, धीरे धीरे ही started to see कि बहुत कौन से स्टोर्स हैं जहां बिल्कुल प्रॉफिट नहीं है. उसने वो वाले स्टोर्स क्लोज कर दिए because they were not able to create any revenue. Second, he started to monitor the quality of beans himself. Third, he started to do what Starbucks was meant to do. वहां पे उस टाइम फ्लोरिडा में बहुत फ्लड आया हुआ था. So 15,000, 16,000 employees of Starbucks went to these flood-stricken areas, and they worked for the people who were stuck in the flood. उन्होंने उनको खाने के पैकेट्स दिए और उनके they made sure that life became normal for these residents of Florida. So what did he do, actually? और उससे क्या हुआ? The result was in 5-6 years the business started to come back. What did this leader do during disruption? Disruption was because there were other players coming into the market. People were preferring other joints over Starbucks. So there was disruption. One, he closed the cafeterias, पर उससे उसके बहुत लोग unemployed हो गए. So what did he do? He did not just fire them. He wrote emotional letters to them. He wrote letters. He made emotional speeches. He communicated with these people, and he told them that this is a temporary phase. Starbucks is going through a tough time, and I hope you are with me. We are closing the store now, but eventually, we are going to come back stronger, and we will sure hire you back. With this communication, क्या हुआ? Employee और employer का gap कम हो गया, and employees जो बहुत otherwise negative हो जाते company के तरफ, they were also positive leaving the company because they were communicated through the leader that these are tough times, and that's why they are being asked to go. So communication brought in a change. That's number one. Second, he strategized. He strategized on winning the hearts of people. He realized कि ये change ऐसे नहीं आएगा. you cannot revive the revenue of the company without aligning with the vision of the company. स्टारबक्स का विजन क्या था कि लोग आए, टाइम स्पेंड करें, बैठें, बातचीत करें. Females, when they're during the day when their husbands have gone to jobs, they would come spend time. There would be youngsters coming. This culture was missing. So he brought that culture back. He did not follow what other people were doing in the coffee industry at that time. And in the year 2013-14, Starbucks revived back. So communication from the leader, strategizing on the original vision of the company, which was not to sell coffee, but to sell good times to people where coffee was being served. So there is a need for change. So this is their owner, the CEO of Starbucks at that time, who is, writing on the wall what he was trying to communicate to the people. He used to go to stores and tell them that these are tough times and we shall hire you back. This is the letter that he wrote to the customers also, because he was communicating with his people. So this is an original letter which was written by Howard Schultz, because those were tough times. लेकिन अगर लोग customers उस time Starbucks छोड़ के चले जाते किसी और client के पास और फिर वापस नहीं आते, तो business would have gone for a toss. So what did they do? They realized a change is required. They brought a change, and then they could restrict any criticism. So start from the top. So if you are the leader of your organization, the change mindset has to be brought from there. There has to be a need for change. You have to promote communication. And you have to realize कि बदलाव जरूरी है. Change is a norm. It is not an exception. So why I have put this photo here, this particular picture here is because you can see this is a picture during Corona times. This is our Prime Minister Modi, and he communicated so much to all of us during the COVID. COVID were disruptive times. COVID से बड़ा disruptive times हमने नहीं देखा है in our lives, आपने भी नहीं देखा होगा अभी तक. So what did he do? He communicated often to people on TV, to maintain social distance, to stay calm, and even initially when everybody did that thali bajao thing, but he was there. He made people feel that we are in this together. Leaders who communicated. So these are the leaders who communicate so often, who did and who were successful CEOs and leaders of their particular sectors. Indra Nui, the ex-CEO of Pepsi. So she used to write letters to the people and to speak with the people. So there were times when there was a competition between Pepsi and Coke. How they came out of those disruptive times by strategizing and re-strategizing. How when people became very health conscious, Pepsi came up with a diet Pepsi and with other health options. How did she realize that change? Those were disruptive times. लोगों ने Pepsi पीना बंद कर दिया because everybody was very health conscious. So what did she say? She said that you don't have to go to the market to find out कि लोगों की पसंद कैसे हो रही है. जब आपकी अपनी ऑफिस की मीटिंग हो रही होती है जहां पे पेप्सी पड़ी होती थी, अब वहां पानी पड़ा होता है, because people prefer water over Pepsi. So you understand that a change is needed. So they strategized and they brought about Diet Pepsi. They brought about various health drinks which were low in calories. Bill Clinton was a successful politician because he communicated change in front of the audiences often. The speech of Winston Churchill is still very popular. अगर आप so there is a serial going on, अगर आप लोग देखते हैं Netflix पे, The Crown, you would have seen how Winston Churchill communicated to his people. और अगर आप कभी YouTube पे आप search करें the famous speech of Winston Churchill, he communicated to his people the change he wanted to bring about in the world, and people always loved him and they were with him. Martin Luther King the Jr., again very popular. You can see in this small picture also, a lot of people used to throng to listen to him because he communicated what he wanted from his people. And Oprah Winfrey. ओपरा विनफ्री के आप लोगों ने शायद शोज देखे होंगे टीवी में. She was more popular during our times. So Oprah Winfrey was, she was she came from a very poor family, and she was in fact raped at the age of 14, and she was to become an unwed mother. That's when her father told her ki this is the time you either decide to cry throughout your life, or you can use this phase, this time, to understand that a change is needed in your life from this moment onwards. That's when she decided कि जो होना था हो गया, and this is the moment then I'm going to take up my life in the way I want. And you know how successful she became as a TV personality taking interviews. So you as a leader have to be prepared for the VUCA world. In fact, you can have this VUCA written on your walls, on your wallpapers, of your computers, on your phone, because life and the world is so uncertain, volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. I hope you understand these words. नहीं तो आप सब dictionary use करके ढूंढिए. Volatile मतलब जो उड़ जाता है. So, आज है आपके पास, कल नहीं है. That's volatile. Things are so volatile. Uncertain. You don't know, you're not sure about what's going to come up next. There is so much technology happening. अगर आप management students हैं, you are a marketing student, do you think the way आप जैसे पहले चीजें जाके बेची जाती थी उसी तरीके से आप बेच सकते हैं फील्ड में जाके? Unless you use digital marketing, unless you use artificial intelligence in your marketing gimmicks, you cannot move further. Life is very complex because the simple times are over. Simple times were maybe around 100 years ago, but now it's complex times. There is competition, and there is a new technology coming every moment. You have to be prepared for that. And ambiguous means you're not clear. You're not clear about what is the right way to do it. So sometimes you need to experiment also. Like I said, you cannot aim for perfection all the time. अगर आप कल को कोई startup शुरू करते हैं या startup में काम करते हैं, you will realize there are 1,000 failures and 1 win. आप 1000 बार एक चीज ट्राई करेंगे स्टार्टअप में, वो नहीं चलेगी, लेकिन कोई एक चीज है जो चलेगी. So you don't have to lose heart at that time. You have to be prepared for the VUCA world. You can't be rigid. You have to keep an open mindset. And you have to believe that life is not easy, life is not certain, and you have to be flexible. What defines the leader's mindset? You have to be a failure pioneer. Like I said, there can be 1,000 failures and 1 win. You have to learn fast, you have to fail cheap. आप स्टार्टअप में काम कर रहे हैं, आप एक ही चीज के पीछे नहीं पड़े रह सकते. You know कि ये काम आपका नहीं चला, उसको बंद किया, get on to the next one. You can't spend crores of your father's money or your own earned money on one thing and then cry over it. You have to fail cheap also. आपको कम पैसा लगाया, पता लगा ये काम नहीं चल रहा है, move further. You have to learn fast and fail cheap. It's all right to fail, but you have to move further. You have to find multiple mentors. This is very important. अगर आपको लगता है आप सब कुछ खुद कर लेंगे, again, this is not a solo game. To survive in a business, to move forward in a business, you have to find various people in various sectors who are your mentors. You're going to find a lot of mentors when you come, to really study at Lloyd when you are here. We have a corporate mentorship program as well. So other than your mentors in the college, you also get to align with people who are working in the corporates. I really hope that you take adequate advantage of these mentors and finally make your own luck. I totally understand, and you must have heard Akshay Kumar saying also. So Akshay Kumar said there are many people who are smarter than him. बहुत सारे लड़के हैं जो अक्षय कुमार से ज्यादा हैंडसम हैं, बहुत सारे अच्छे एक्टर्स हैं जो अक्षय कुमार से अच्छे एक्टर भी हैं, बहुत सारे ऐसे एक्टर्स हैं जो उससे ज्यादा हार्ड वर्किंग भी हैं, लेकिन अक्षय कुमार ही क्यों अक्षय कुमार बना, वही क्यों सबसे सक्सेसफुल हुआ? Because finally it was his destiny. There are many, he said, who wait outside the film city, who are much good looking, much handsome, better actors than him, but he could make because he was lucky also. So you can work your best, and finally, I tell that you can leave it to destiny. This is one thing that I would like to leave you before I say the final quote, is that you need to read. आप जितना पढ़ेंगे उतना आपका दिमाग की बत्ती खुलेगी. आप अखबार पढ़ने से शुरू करिए, आप फिक्शन पढ़ने से शुरू करिए. Read books which you like to read. Read fiction, stories पढ़िए आप, and then slowly come to non-fiction novels, because they say not all readers are leaders, but all leaders are readers. You want to lead, you have chosen a course of management in your postgraduate studies. Eventually, you have to lead the world of business. Start reading. This is one book that I want to leave you with. If possible, try to find this book, The Leader's Mindset, because you would have seen अभी से लेकर पिछले 40-50 मिनट में हमने जितनी भी बात की है, is all about the mindset. सबसे पहले your mindset has to evolve, your mind has to change, and then it comes in actions. I want to leave you with this: the disruptive future belongs to a mindset that is wired differently than normal business people. What does it mean? जो लोग आगे बढ़ना चाहते हैं during disruptive times, like I said, it's a VUCA world. अगर आगे बढ़ना है, आगे बढ़ना सिर्फ उन्हीं लोगों के लिए है जिनका माइंडसेट की वायरिंग बाकी सब लोगों से अलग है. If you are just the same as what others are thinking and doing, you will just stick on there. You have to be wired differently. और वायरिंग कैसे बदलेगी आपके दिमाग की? जब आप पढ़ेंगे. As in, you read different kind of fiction, non-fiction books. You listen to podcasts. You listen to the speeches of people who have already done it. Listen to Steve Jobs. Listen to Satya Nadella. All their speeches are there in podcasts. Listen to them. And you will see आपकी धीरे धीरे wiring will evolve. You are not what you started with. आज आप पढ़ना शुरू करिए 2 पेज, धीरे धीरे 3-4 पेज करिए, and read good books. We can refer them to you. You can get them from the library. You will see in a month's time, you are not what you started with. You will be a different person. So I have given you one assignment earlier. I will go back to that. Is that if you are in a business which is facing disruption because of new partners coming in, because of people coming with some technology or a different mindset, what will you do? Will you stick to your business? Will you move with technology, or will you leave it to God ki jo chal raha hai, or any other idea that comes to you? I want you to mail them to me, and I'm giving you my email ID after this. You have to send those answers to me by mail. That's your one assignment. And the second assignment is you have to start reading a non-fiction book. You can start with maybe 2-3 pages of fiction. कोई story आप पढ़ते हैं या कुछ भी, any random thing, any romantic novel you read, anything that interests you, any biography, any autobiography, कुछ भी आप पढ़ना शुरू करिए. लेकिन एक आप non-fiction book भी पढ़ना शुरू करेंगे, and you have to share to me only the book you are reading. मुझे book की summary नहीं चाहिए, मुझे book के बारे में नहीं चाहिए. आपको मुझे mail करना है the book that you are starting to read. So there are a lot of books which are available on ebooks as well. There are a lot of free books available. To make life simple for you, there are a lot of free audio books which are available, on Spotify also. So आप audio book भी उसमें डाल सकते हैं, e-book डाल सकते हैं, normal hard copy of the book डाल सकते हैं. So 2 things that you have to give to me. And if you have any questions as well, then please feel free to ask the questions on mail. I will definitely look at all the questions and reply on mail as well. We shall come back, to you. I shall speak with you again once you are here. We are eagerly waiting for our PGTM badge for the orientation. We are all geared up. It is going to be a wonderful time of those 5-6 days where we shall be bringing before you a lot of corporates, लेकिन ऐसे corporates नहीं जो हिंदी बोले और आपको फारसी लगे. So we shall be bringing those corporates to you who will engage with you, who will go to your level and make you understand कि आगे क्या industry है जहां आपको job करना है. So we'll have people from business analytics, we'll have people from HR, finance, we'll have a lot of outbound activities. तो आपको सिर्फ lecture बाजी नहीं सुनना है. I understand it's hot, it's summers, and you might not want to sit in the seminar hall only. So we have planned a lot of outbound activities for you. And your mentors are ready. Your faculty mentors who are also present in this session today, will be leading you through it. Aapko koi dikkat ho ya any guidance you need on residentials, as in aap kahan rukenge aur kya timings rahenge, they will make it a smooth process for you. If your parents also want to understand anything about you commuting from your hometowns, then they can always speak with the mentors. My only request to you is that don't be late. If your joining is on 25th of July, which is a tentative date of your orientation. So 25th to 30th, 31st will be the orientation. Make sure that you come for the orientation, because ये नींव है आपके अगले 1.5-2 साल की पढ़ाई की. So make sure कि आपका नींव strong हो. Please join on time and on date. Try and shift a day before or 2 days in before. It's a Saturday, Sunday before that. तो आप पहले आइए, settle हो जाइए, maybe come to the college, have a look, go around, so that you can join this course with a fresh mind. That's my take on this, and good luck to all of you. All the very best to you for these 2 assignments, 2 short assignments that I have given you. And you have to mail to me before Sunday evening. So आपके पास आज का दिन है और कल का दिन है, और परसों शाम तक you have to send these emailers to me, and I shall eagerly await those.